Hello everybody, this is Jurassic Adventures, and we are here with the Hammond Collection Dilophosaurus. Now this figure looks pretty good, but there's a lot of things we can do to improve this thing just with some simple paint, so that's what we're going to do in this video. I'm going to show you 3 different levels of what you can do to improve this figure with paint. We're going to start with a beginner, an intermediate, and then we're going to go up to an advanced, which is just a full repaint. So let's get right into it with the beginner. Starting off, what we're going to do is just mix up a color match to that black on the upper body, and that is just using the 3 paints shown on the screen. You can just sort of match it up and then apply a little bit and just quickly wipe it off to see if it's a match, and this one is. So we're going to continue all those patterns just like shown on the screen. We're going to extend it down the tail for sure and get that leg transition good as well. For painting this, you don't want a really thick paint. You want a little bit of a watered down, more flowy paint so you can get all those sharp, neat sort of edges and everything, those patterns that are really nice and crisp looking. So now we're going to move into the light outline. I'm using sort of a gray tan because I don't really ever use just plain white on figures. But what you want to do is really have a nice thin and little brush just doing all of that. It's okay if you mess up, you can always just go back in with the black. You definitely want the paint thin for this so you can get those nice sharp crisp lines. After that, we're just going to do another little detail, which is the dew claw, and we're using just a brown color for that. And that just gets picked out with a fine detail brush. After that, I covered up the awful base eye with some dark red that matches. Then I went in with some orange and covered the eyeball. After that, the yellow inside of there. And then of course that black pupil and white dot. This guy's already looking so much better, and to protect our hard work we're going to put a matte varnish over there, and you can always use the blow dryer to speed up the drying. And then after that we're just going to put some gloss in the eyeball and on that dew claw. And that's really all there is to this beginner level paint mod. This thing looks way better now, and it looks like how Mattel should have made this thing from the start. Hopefully that helps you guys who don't really know where to start with this thing just be able to give this thing a little bit more accuracy, but for those who aren't quite satisfied, we have the intermediate level. For the intermediate, what we're going to do first is we're just going to take a wash and apply it all over the figure. We want to get in all of those little details and really make it so that it sinks in and makes all those details pop. Even the frill we want to put a wash on. After that, we're going to take sort of a mauve color, which is like a pinkish brown, and we're just going to paint over the hands and also the tops of the feet just to give it that sort of reddish color that you see in the movie, but also not make it too intense. With some green, we're also going to dry brush the body just to pop that detail up that got obscured by the wash. We're also going to color match the green color on the body. I use these 2 paints, but you can use anything that'll give you a similar result. And then what I did with those is I just kind of painted the lower jaw around the sort of lip region. This improves the sort of stark transition between that light beige and green on the original figure. And then what I did is I took some of that white from earlier, and then I put some black in there to sort of match that pattern up on there. Then I did the same thing on the arms as well. A detail that really bothered me was the lack of paint on the roof of the mouth, so I mixed those 2 colors together and I made a sort of fleshy tone that I painted throughout the entire mouth. Then I took a sort of muted purple color and painted the tongue so it has that purple tongue like the Dilophosaurus in the movie. Then I put a flesh wash inside of the mouth. After that dried, a gloss coat. And then for that folded frill, I put a flesh wash over there, and then I dry brushed a little bit with some colors that match the sort of green of the body, and then also some pink to really give it a bit more detail. And with that done, we have our Hammond Collection Dilophosaurus intermediate level paint scheme done. One thing I probably should have done is continue the tan all the way down to the tail, and then put a wash over it to conceal any color difference, but I think overall this one is really great, and if I do get another Hammond Collection Dilophosaurus, I'm not going to fully repaint it, and I'll probably just go with this sort of paint mod. Next is the advanced, and that is just a full repaint of this figure. After I shaved down all the joints, I sprayed this thing with some gray primer, and then all of the rubber parts like the frills and the tail I used Angela's shoe paint, and then I dry brushed the underbelly with a sort of light beige color. I also did this with the frill. After that, I airbrushed a nice light green color all over the entire body, and also the edges of the frill. After that, I did the white pattern, which is sort of an outline for the black. I didn't really film any of me painting the black because it's just tedious and took a super long time, but you get the gist. You're just filling in all of those white patterns. And then after that, I put a little bit of red around the eye just with the brush before I did any more airbrushing. Next, with a sort of pinkish red tone, I airbrushed the feet, the hands, the eye socket, and also the folded frill. And to dull that down, I just put a brown wash over that. For the folded frill, I used a flesh wash. And then after that, I sprayed some brown inside of the black pattern to give it a bit more depth. I moved into the mouth after that, and I just painted it with a nice flesh shade like you saw me do earlier, and then I'm just doing the purple tongue here. After I painted the teeth in some bone, I put a wash inside of the mouth. Then I moved into the claws, which are just in black. After that, I dry brushed a dark brown gray all over the claws. Then I moved into the eyes, which are absolutely tiny on this figure. I already put the yellow in there, and now I'm just putting the black. After that, I moved into the white highlight with a tiny, fine detail brush. Now we are just going to move into the frill. I already dry brushed this with a little bit of that lighter color to bring out some of that detail, and now we're going to put a yellow ink over it. After that, I airbrushed the white outline for the pattern. Then I painted the red stripes on the frill with all those little patterns and everything. After that, I did the black outline around the frill. And here, I'm just taking that same gray that we used for the patterns on the body, and then I'm putting that on the back of the frill, and also doing the black to continue that pattern on the back of the frill. After that, I gave it a wash. And then, of course, a matte coat just to protect all of that hard work. To prevent any paint rub, what we're going to do is just put a thin layer of super glue on here. Super glue is very durable and resistant and will make it so that it is a nice top coat. Make sure it is not too thick, and make sure you do not glue any of the joints while you're doing this, and put a matte coat on afterwards because it tends to be a little bit shiny. And that, guys, is it for this advanced Dilophosaurus repaint. If you guys enjoyed this video and these tutorials and found them useful, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. This is Jurassic Adventures, and I'll see you in the next video.